What's going on, everybody? I am going to do my best to explain how to use the JFJ Easy Pro. This is what I learned working at a game store for a little bit, and I ended up buying one. I'm sorry, I didn't even buy it. I got it as a gift because I'm lucky, and I had the experience, so it's very easy to pick up. It can be a little confusing, but just follow along. Honestly, the little booklet that they give you, if you got it with your machine, it pretty much tells you how to do it. It can be confusing if you haven't done it just on your own, but you can follow this for the most part, and it should get you to where you need to be. You probably don't need to use that much goo, I'll tell you that much, but I'll walk you through it real quick. Excuse me. So I have Burnout Paradise for Xbox. As you can see, it's got some deep scratches. We're going to do our best to get those out. And this is just a good example disc on how to use all three. So you have four different actually, pads right here. This is upside down. What you actually use is compound number 2 first. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they did that. But you use compound number 2, the white compound. You literally I'd put a couple dabs on each end and then put it on. But if you want to get some deep scratches out, like for this disc, you can use your sandpaper. I actually mark these. This is a softer sandpaper, and this is a more coarse sandpaper, a little rougher, for some good deep scratches. But I don't think I'm going to use that this time, just to be careful. I'm going to use the softer one. So this is all Velcro on the bottom. You just pop it on, maybe give it a little press to make sure it's on there. You pop the disc, you take the cap off, you pop the disc on there, you get the cap that I have down here, and we're gonna screw it on. Just make sure it's on tight, or else it will come off in the middle of the machine, or at least like when you take it off. So make sure it's on there pretty well. And you don't have to put any of this on there yet, because it's just sandpaper. Sandpaper you want to put on very quickly, 10 seconds, I would say, even for the soft sandpaper. So we're going to flip it on. I'm going to pause this just to avoid everything, but every time I run it, I will tell you how long to run it, and then pause the video. Make sure you get the time, and then you can do it yourself. So 10 seconds have gone by. We're going to pop this open. As you can see, it's pretty roughed up just from the sandpaper. We're going to take the sandpaper out. And then we're going to get our compound number 2. I don't know if you're supposed to shake it or not, but I'm going to shake it. We're going to pop it open. All I do is just give it a little squeeze. Put a little dab on there. Oh, that's a little more. Let's see if I can get it here. A little more than you want. Just a little bit. I guess it depends on how many games you're going to do. But, you could swirl it around a little bit. Just get it. I personally like to use the edge. Just angle it a little bit. Use the edge to push it up across the whole pad, instead of just in that one spot. You could use your own method. Obviously, it's personal preference. I try to get it across from, obviously you see where I've used it right there. Try to get it across this whole plane, just so it covers the whole disc. So we pop this back on here. Every time you use it, I would make sure that this is tight, because it can come undone a little bit. So we'll pop it back on there. Because I used the sandpaper, it's probably best you could do a minute. 20 seconds you do for light scratches, 2 minutes, I guess, if you're not going to use sandpaper for deeper scratches. I usually, or whatever I think this button on the bottom is 2 minutes. Doesn't even say, really. I don't know why. But I would say I usually don't use more than 1 minute. I would do that just as a precaution, just to use 1 minute at a time. So we're going to do a minute on this, and then we'll get to the next step. So while this was going, my cap actually did fall off. I wasn't joking. That's how easily these can come off. So I mean, usually it doesn't really risk the issue, but hey, the disc looks pretty good so far. We do still have to polish it. I know it's hard to zoom in on this, but you can't really see those scratches anymore, which is a good sign. Probably means it was just a quick surface scratch. Maybe someone dropped the Xbox while they were moving it or something along those lines. Don't worry about when you're screwing this back on. That part of the disc right there usually is not an issue. I've cracked the absolute crap out of some of the clear part, and the game will still work. It's not a problem. So we're going to pop this out. We're going to focus the video. We're going to go on to compound number 1. Again, doesn't make sense. But you could see even like maybe I'll dab towards the beginning of this and just kind of smear it out a little bit just to make sure it covers the whole pad, because that's the general idea. It's a little thicker of a cream. I don't know, whatever you want to call this. A compound. So like I said, just a couple little dabs. My boss, when I learned how to use this, was very stingy. So he made sure that we did this a certain way. But I guess it was pretty right. You know, you don't want to overuse it. Maybe you want to put a little more compound if you're just going to do a couple discs at a time. So you don't have to reapply every time. But because I'm just going to do this one, we're going to put just a little bit. So we're going to pop that back on. Maybe push down a little bit. Make sure that the disc is tight. And we're going to close it. And I would say always do the same amount of time for both compounds. So I did a minute for the white compound. I'm going to do a minute for this compound. So let it fly. And we're done. So we'll pop it open. Don't worry about any sounds that might come around. It's just normal. So we're gonna see, even that's pretty loose. So really make sure that's on there. I guess it's been a while since I've done this, but all the steps are as they should be. As you can see, there's still a little like surface scratch, but for what the disc started out as, it is pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Not zoom, focus. There's still a couple scratches, but if you look at the beginning of the video, it is much not as deep as it was in the beginning. So enjoy the views of my ceiling and my wall with all the posters, but it looks pretty good. In you know, to the naked eye, it's pretty good. What I would do is take the cloth and just kind of wipe from center to the outside. You know, just get any little excess crap that, you know, got on my hand. Wash off any excess and then go test your game. See if it works. Give it a shot. There's a hair on it, but we'll get it off. That's pretty much it. Just be very gentle. Be careful. Tighten that screw. If you have any questions, please just ask. If I can answer it, I will. This was for the JFJ Easy Pro Plus, whatever the hell that means. So if there's any questions, you know, every once in a while, just clean off the crud that's on the insides. Doesn't really affect anything, but, you know, just to keep it clean and make sure it's running well. Other than that, I don't have anything else for it. Just, you know, light scratches. Do 30 seconds of each compound. Don't do any sandpaper. Sandpaper's for like the real deal deep scratches if you really want to try to save a game. Other than that, if it's a game that loads and then just freezes at some point, you're probably not going to need a sandpaper. But deep scratches, if you want to try, give it a shot with the coarse sandpaper. You can kind of almost tell that I haven't used this very much, but this one I do once in a while. But any questions, please just comment. I'll answer. You know, hit me up on social media. All of my contacts should be in my profile. And I hope you enjoy this if you got it. It's definitely a great tool to have. Sorry, this tutorial, is a little longer than I wanted it to be. I like to do quick ones to kind of get the point across, but I guess you need a little extra for this one since you're using some pretty good machinery. So hopefully you get your games working and enjoy.